This is the reign of chaos.
Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 122, Lamar, Reign of Chaos.
Okay, so this movie to me had potential.
Oh, you're coming
But-
right out of the gate with your criticisms, eh?
A little bit because I feel like this movie took itself too seriously.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like it took itself too seriously. We're going to get into why. And a little bit of it is with the choice of main characters. But what is Reign of Chaos about?
Okay, well, what I liked about it was part of the plot. So basically you had the god Chaos. So they were kind of pulling from like mythology.
Yes.
And then you had the followers or the bloodline of the goddess Nike.
Right.
And so he unleashes chaos, and the only people that can stop him are the women that are the bloodline of Nike.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's doing with his chaos is he's basically making an apocalypse of zombies and stuff.
Are they zombies or cannibals? I don't.
Yeah, zombie, cannibals, whatever.
Minions, whatever,
Minions.
whatever. Yeah.
So I like that because you had like the common. We're so used to that whole apocalypse, zombie, flesh eating, blah 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 blah. Well, at least they gave it some depth with like a cool backstory that's related to mythology. You know,
A little bit of flavor.
yeah, I like
Yes.
that part of it. So that's
Yes.
basically the movie. You have these three women that are being trained by this other guy to stop chaos.
Yes, it is Charlie's Angels meets the apocalypse with Greek mythology, I guess you could say. But here's the thing.
Okay.
Like I said, I feel like they took it too seriously because I feel like, okay, you have these three women. And I will say this, there was only one that was interesting to me. Well, maybe two.
Okay.
The main character, Nicole.
Nicole.
Her parents, she finds out she's adopted, blah, 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 blah,
What-
blah, blah, blah.
What I liked about her character was the guy just kind of meets her in the street and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're part of the bloodline of Nike and you're gonna save the world."
Part of the problem.
And she's just kind of like, "Okay."
That's it. There's no real immediacy from her.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like, okay.
I better go home and talk to my mom about this. You know?
Oh yeah, he just brings up on her. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you're adopted. Your parents aren't real. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
No,
you're
parents
actually
are
a
adopted.
goddess. I
Yeah.
actually thought that was part of the humor, though. The subtle
Oh.
humor. Wasn't that a subtle piece of humor to it, though?
I felt like it was kind of flat. I felt like it was just like walking around. Like it's almost like he was going to the store. Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's that girl. She's a descendant of Nike.
Well, he had been looking for the girls, though. That's his
But
job.
the
to
way
find
it
all
was
these
set up, it was
Yeah.
just like,
But her reaction to it was just like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll go fight chaos then." like, they're
like at first she's like, I'm not that special, but then he explains it, and then she's just like, oh, okay.
I
It's
like
just
that part of it. That made me laugh at least.
And then she finds out she's adopted. That's not traumatizing to anybody. Joe.
Now, to go off your point about the movie taking itself too serious, I thought they introduced a character too late in the game, and they didn't keep him long enough. Was this character Gavin?
Go ahead, talk about it.
They're running from some bad guys. This guy like stops and he's like, "Hey, come over here. You know, you can come into my basement and hide out." And he was just this kind of like odd character, but he had the humor that I think you were looking for.
Yes.
And he was almost like a character that just kind of came and went. They didn't need him that much or whatever. But I was like, they should have introduced this character early on in the movie, like a sidekick to the guy that was training them or something, because he was a funny character.
That's exactly. He had more personality in his 5 minutes on screen
Yeah.
than the main character, which I thought was weird. And it's kind of like, he was funny. He's like, oh yeah, here's my wife and everything like
Yeah.
that. You know, yeah,
He's
you guys can come on over.
He goes, "No, you guys are goddesses. How am I going to explain this to the missus?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Yeah. But you see, having a character like that playing off of the straight, personality characters would have been better because you would at least had that counterbalance. Yeah.
Yes.
So I can feel what you're saying a little bit there.
And here's the thing, and internet, don't crucify me. What if this was, and I think this is what the movie was missing, because we're going to talk. Well, we have to talk about the two other girls. The other one is like a British blonde-headed woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the rough and tough chick.
Yes.
And then you have another British woman. I'm going to say, very attractive.
Rita Dituccio.
Very attractive woman.
Yes, I must agree. She is very attractive.
What if this was an updated version of a Malibu Bay film? Because I thought about that. And that would have made it more interesting. What if it was everything still happens, like the reign of chaos, but this guy is going around and he has to find, coincidentally, super hot women to save the world and stuff like that.
So
and they all have different powers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, two parts. I'll break down both of the things you said there. The kind of Malibu Bay films thing would have been kind of funny. Like they're all just, gorgeous women that, are spies or whatever. That was basically the premise of all those old movies. That would have been kind of funny. But the other part of what you just said, having separate skills would have made these characters better. Like if one was like throwing knives or whatever.
Yes.
Because they didn't really differentiate them very well. So it would have been cool. Like, well, one girl had the main girl had powers.
But that's it.
But like, yeah, if the rest of them had different types of skills, that would have been cool.
Yeah. If they all would have had to come together, like they're very different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know if I'd go full Malibu Bay films though, Lamar.
I think they don't have to in every other scene get topless or anything like that.
Good Lord, man.
That would be the movie if Malibu Bay.
That's what those movies.
That's the movie. What the movie would have been. But I think it just needed a little bit more pizzazz with those characters. Yeah, I can. And then that. The Rodri guy, I felt like that was like a bad Christian Bale Batman Begins voice. I got sick of his voice a little bit. I was just like, dude, clear your throat out and get a long speech. Yeah.
What about like the whole thing with the villain? He had the chaos and the minions. I thought they disposed of him a little too quickly. Like
I don't think we got to see him be as sinister as he could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have done a little more with him. And by the time it got to the end where they went to go take him down, like I said, they took him down real easy. Like it wasn't that whole like the big bad where you have to go through levels of minions and then you finally get to the boss level, and he's tough to beat. Well, one funny part of the movie that just made me laugh, you probably missed it, but they were training and they were fighting like the zombies or whatever. And one girl gave the zombie a stone cold stunner, which I thought was hilarious.
I thought that move looked familiar. That was another problem. I was like, okay, you're training for the apocalypse in a boxing gym. Yeah. I'm going to rewrite this movie right now, Joe.
Well, we already know what you want, pervert.
Not that far. Okay. You don't have to have him topless but Good okay. Lord, you have the chaos thing set up. Mm-hmm. You have this guy, he is told by like one of the goddess Nike, you have to find these 3 women. But he finds these 3 women and they couldn't be any more different. You have one that's from the Badlands. You have one that's like in the military, very rigid. Then you have one that's in like a utopian societies that's separated. And so he has to come together and train these women. And so he's kind of like Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Okay. And he has to like, train these women or whatever. And they don't get along because blah, blah, blah. They feel like one is privileged, one is like, whatever. But then when they're trying to train and stuff like that, guess what happens?
What?
The man that has to train them gets killed, and that's the final thing that brings them together. And And that's the thing that makes them mount up and say, it's not about us. It's about the world. And we team up with their special abilities and go after chaos and save the frickin' day.
I have a better one, I think. I'll play off of yours a little bit. All of what you said. The
Yes.
only difference I'm going to add to it is like each one of these girls, there's 3 left.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them has a birthmark on their hand or whatever, their arm. And when they put their arms together, it forms like a Nike symbol. And then
Cross
like
promotion.
like a giant goddess of Nike comes. Like they turn in like almost like Power Rangers, how they turn into the
Voltron.
one big, yeah. And then so then the goddess Nike comes and they fight as her together or something like that.
Women empowerment, women coming together.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are you rating it then?
I got to give this one a 2.
Really?
Yeah, I was just kind of. I feel like it had good ideas, just not well executed. I wanted a little bit more. I like the women having different things. I even like what you're saying, Joe. Like them unite and do something.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But when you what you got, it's just kind of like they're all kind of the same. There's no differentiating of them. So. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I thought I was actually entertained by it, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I was gonna give it a 3. I gave it an extra half because Rita DiTuccio is one of the most gorgeous women that we've seen in the movies that we've watched. So she's definitely in the top 3, I would say, of all the movies we reviewed. So
I'm trying to think.
I gave it a bonus point. So yeah, I don't know. I was entertained by this movie for some reason. It didn't seem long.
It wasn't long. That's good.
It was going along. They a couple times interjected humor. It had some action scenes. Nothing offensive about it. Like some of the movies we've seen along the way where I'm just like, oh my God, when is this over? There was nothing like that with this movie. I was like, okay, I'm entertained. Thanks. 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
And
then.
I want to say this.
Okay.
This is not because they did not get topics. I'm just saying that flair that you needed from Malibu Bay Films.
Okay.
Yes. Don't judge me.
Reign of Chaos. Peace.
Deuces. Yeah.